Afternoon, guys. This is for both of you. Just how do you feel like it's gone working together in the co-offensive coordinator role, both the last 2 games of the regular season and then also now as the postseason nears?
Well, I think it's going extremely well. I mean, you look at our kids, they playing fast, they're not overthinking. We got a tremendous staff that helps me and Ty out. I mean, it's not just us two. We got a good group of guys that's in that room. Charles Walker, Kevin Lowry, Frank Leonard, David Rocco, Stiggs, David Parker. I mean, it's been a collective group of guys that's been busting their tail to allow our kids to play fast, play free, and enjoy the process, you know, and enjoy what they've done up to this point. I mean, it's a 10-2 team. It ain't what we want, but it's where we at, and we got a chance to continue to play.
I'll echo the same thing. You know, obviously, an advantage has been me and Jay have been together for a long time. So, you know, we see things the same way. And so from that standpoint, it's been really easy. And ultimately, the biggest goal is to let our kids play fast and go execute. And so from that standpoint, it's been awesome.
Here on the right, Tyler.
Hey, to both of you, and it's a question for both of you. I'm curious what it has looked like with Andy, you know, entering the mix here in the last couple of weeks. What are the early impressions of him as a person, as a coach, and what do you hope to be able to accomplish together this December before he takes the keys?
Yeah, you know, it's been great having him here. Obviously, we've been out on the road, you know, recruiting a lot, so there hadn't been a ton of, you know, us sitting down and interactions, but we have been back for practice and those things. He's been extremely helpful. He's really sharp, really bright, and a really good person. So that's been the biggest impressions that we've seen early on, and getting input. You know, obviously, you know, he's coming in and trying to jump with 2 feet in, and but it's been great having him in the room.
I echo what Ty said. I mean, he's been an easy fit so far. I mean, we haven't really done much with him. We had a chance to interview him, you know, back in the day for a tight end position when Ty got it. So we kind of knew each other a little bit. So as far as football, he's just kind of absorbing everything, being a voice of reason, just trying to get to know the staff and the kids up to this point. So.
Up front, Rich.
This is for both of you guys. What was the most important thing for you to do with the players once you got the interim tag, and what have you tried to do since that day going forward?
I think trying to get an edge, to get a confidence of saying, you know, don't think we good, no, we are good, and play to that standards. I mean, we done recruited well here. We got talented guys, and we need our talented guys to play like they talented. And don't talk it, walk it. And I think the last couple of weeks, our kids starting to play that way. And then I think we've done a great job of playing to our strength, you know, making sure the right guys get the right touches, giving guys confidence, and even sometimes smaller things. Listen to our players. You know, Olu come to us and say, hey, we want to run the ball, or hey, we can take our shots here. Me and Ty putting our brains together and coming up with the right game plan to make sure, you know, we connecting those dots with our kids and making them feel like they part of something. And I think that's been the biggest things we talked about. Don't flinch, you know. Simplicity equals speed, and I think you kind of been hearing that message throughout the last few weeks with the kids.
Yeah, I obviously echo everything Jay says there. I mean, I know it's kind of a constant, but again, we see things through the same set of lenses. And the big thing for our players was confidence. I mean, you know, obviously we went through a little adversity and how they were going to be able to respond to that, and they've responded great. I mean, we got great kids in that room, great players, but just people that are able to bounce back and go execute and play fast and have fun playing the game of football. You know, that's the other thing we stress is like, man, we work all year round for, you know, limited opportunities. So being able to go and take advantage of all those, and those guys have done that.
So Johnny and then Ellie.
This one's for J1. Since the Michigan State game, both Nick and Katron have expressed that they'll be back for the 2024 season. I know you mentioned, you know, before the year that in the offseason some teams might have tried to play, you know, those guys off of each other. What does it say about both of them that they're not tempted by the portal and that they'll be back?
Well, I'll just tell you about the relationship we have here, not just as a team, but individual with your players, you know, and when you can coach them hard, you can love them hard, and you can show them a vision. You know, it's easy to get caught up in this NIL world and money. I think our guys are probably getting taken care of pretty good. I don't know what that number is, but there's also the point of being developed. You know, you're having a good track record with the developing guys and putting them to the NFL, because ultimately that's what they want, right? And let me say this about those two kids, man. To be unselfish in this time and era where it's easy to be selfish, can be a me guy, coach. I could be up for the dope walk or the Heisman. We never hear that. They're talking about how much they make each other better. They talking about how defenses change their defense weekly to stop the running backs. Because all we hear, right, is they not having a lot of long runs. We're not explosive. But if you look at first down and how these guys making our offense be more efficient, I want to say at one point we was averaging 40 points a game. A lot of it had to do with how they kept us on task to be able to convert on third downs and how they fed off each other. And then there's also us doing a good job of keeping them in rhythm. You know, sometimes we get a kid have 6-7 yard run, we don't go back to them, and that's on us too as coaches to keep them the focal point of our offense going forward. And I think, again, I can say it again, like for me, it's a luxury to see two kids who super talented. I don't take it for granted how talented these kids are, and being a coach and able to see here and being able to stick it out together and not saying, hey, it's about me. No, it's about them. I mean, you watch them away from the building, they live with each other. So every day they feeding off each other, pushing each other, making each other better. Nick helping Fat Man helping Nick in different areas of their game, and sometimes off the field. You know, some of these kids exposed to different stuff and kind of see how doing this a little bit different can change your life outside of football. So I may not never have two that this good at the same time ever, and so, but it's not just the talent, it's seeing how these guys has grown since they got here, how unselfish they are in this era of football when it's about me, me, me. And be honest with you, they really don't talk about the NIL stuff. I mean, I know you see posters out there, but neither one of those guys would want to be in the front of a camera and making a post about them. That's just who they are. I mean, you guys interview them, you see they don't want to talk much, but that's what makes them successful. It's about the team and not the individual goal.
Over here on the left, Alec.
A month ago, I asked James, when you guys were promoted to the interim tag for OC, why people who don't know you should be confident in the two of you. And he said a lot of great things, but he also said you guys are fiercely loyal to Penn State. I'm curious why this is a place that you both can be that loyal to. Jay, for you, been here a number of years, Ty as a letterman. What is it about Penn State that makes this a place where you want to coach and continue to give to this program?
You know, I think it all starts with people. You know, obviously our staff, but our players and the fans and the people that are involved with Penn State. You know, for me, that's one of the reasons I chose to come here out of high school. And so now being on the other side of it as a coach, you know, you don't take for granted the people that are involved, especially with the hours that we spend together. You know, I mean, in our offensive staff room, I mean, like me and Jaywan spend a lot of time together. You know, me and Phil, and you spend a lot of time with the players. And so the culture that we have of having good people around is something you can't take for granted, and keeps, you know, guys like me and Jay around, you know, and because obviously we love coaching football, but it's even better to do it with people who love it as well, and you love coaching and you love being around. You know, and then obviously, you know, you're at a place like Penn State, you know, where you want to go. I mean, it's an unbelievable institution, but also an unbelievable football program and tradition, and helping this place take it to a new level is a goal of mine. And so, you know, those are big factors of why, you know, I'm loyal to this place outside of just my playing career.
I echo what Ty said. It's the people. Like, I don't come to work. I mean, I really feel that. Like, I come into a building, I actually enjoy coming to a building. We got great leadership up top with Coach Franklin. You don't feel like it's 4th and 1 every time you walk into a building. I've been with coaches where every time you walk in the building, it's 4th and 1, and you're on the edge. Like, that ain't football. That ain't how it plays. That's why it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd down. It shouldn't always be 4th and 1. And I truly enjoy my time here. I mean, it's the people that makes it special. And as assistant coach, I mean, all you're looking for is a place where you can grow. You have an opportunity to win it all. Like, here, you have a chance to win it all. You know, we haven't done it yet, but we knocking on the door. So a lot of places you don't get that opportunity. We sitting here pissed off we won 10 games. A lot of people be glad to win 10 games. Like, I don't take that for granted. You know, I played at West Virginia every 4 years. We thought we was going to be good. So it's 2 years in a row we done won 10 games in the regular season. And for me, it's been 3 because of the Cotton Bowl. So and that's what you want. And then a lot of times as assistant coach, it's stability. Like, what do you leave Penn State for? Like when you're assistant coach, it's got to make a lot of sense. You know, people say lateral moves. Well, most of them are. Most of them going to be below Penn State, you know, unless you go to Ohio State, Michigan, which I don't see that. I want to beat their ass, excuse my language. I don't want to go there. Or you go down south. So, or you leave here to be a head coach. I mean, that's the ultimate goal for a lot of us. So to learn, we got it. Like I said, we got a great example every time I walk in the building. I see Coach Franklin. I see one of the best CEOs I've been around. Like, this guy wears so many hats and be able to do it at a high level. And I don't think he get enough credit for how much he has done here with this program and had to overcome to get this place where it's at now. You know, I grew up in Florida. I'm a Floridian. And you look at those 3 schools down there, look how long it's taken those guys to recover. And that's the best high school football in the country. So why it takes them so long? We'll start at the top. I mean, sometimes we don't give this guy enough credit for where we at. Because football, winning is hard. Create a culture where everybody feel like they part of something is hard. And we have done that here. And that's the main reason why I'm still sitting in this chair.
You got Audrey, T. Frank, and Neil. Go ahead.
Jay, I'll build off of it. Is that still your goal? Do you still have the head coaching aspirations? And what is this particular interim role meant to you in terms of developing further?
I mean, we all want that goal. Like, to me, if you got in this profession, that's the only thing you want to be is assistant coach. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But it also nothing wrong if I'm never become a head coach. Like, I feel like I'm closer here with Coach Franklin. The roles I get to play, this guy has never taken me for granted. He's elevated me. He pushed me past my comfort zone. You know, these last few weeks is pushing you past your comfort zone. So, to me, if this the pinnacle, it's pretty damn good. And I don't take that for granted, you know. So, I get to truly do something I love. I say that a lot of times. I could be good at something else. I don't know what something else is. My whole life been football or some type of aspect around football. I'm a coach's kid, dad coach, have my mom coach. So I've been around this game my whole life, and I get to be at a place like Penn State. And like I said, if I'm done in a few years, once I leave here, you know what, this been a hell of a ride. So, and I get to enjoy it every day with great men like Ty and the rest of you guys on offense. So it's been fun, but I'm never content, because I think when you get content, you get stagnant, you get passed up, and it's always a guy that want my seat, and so I can't never feel like I'm comfortable. So, like, I push myself in different ways. It's hard for me to explain and go into details how I challenge myself as a coach. The beauty of it, I've been a quarterback my whole life, so I always had to see the game different than everybody else, and I still think that's one of my gifts. Like, I can go through a game plan, and once we get going, I can see it through Drew eyes or Bo eyes or Trace eyes or Sean eyes, because I lived that life as a quarterback, you know, from reading the safeties down to the backers to the front. So for me, I had a front row example on how to see the game and how to call the game. So that's been the fun ride for me.
Way in the back, T. Frank.
Hey, sorry, I'm all the way back here in the shadows, guys. I hope you don't mind asking a football question about Andy Kotelnicki. A couple years ago on an online coaches clinic, he talked about creating space by distorting the defense. Is that something that aligns with you guys philosophically on the offensive side of the staff that is here? Or is that kind of fall in the bucket of football's kind of different ways to make a sandwich sometimes, you know, from how you approach trying to do the same thing?
Absolutely. You know, distortion to a defense can come in a lot of different ways, you know, from being unbalanced or spreading them out or motions or shifts or trades. So, you know, that's something that we very much align with, and you know, that there's 1,000 ways to do it, but when you can distort a defense, now you can create space and attack them in certain ways, and figuring out the best way to do that every week is one of the challenges. So, you know, that's a big piece of, you know, offensive football. So I think, you know, obviously we align with that. You know, it's every week you're trying to find the best way to attack. So I think that's a good word for it, is distorting the defense to create that space. So absolutely.
Time for 2 more. We got Neil and then Bob.
Can you guys take us through the process? Ty, you're upstairs, you work talking to each other, but a play's got to come in. So where does it originate? Or is this classified?
We do it together.
That's right. It's through the week. Yeah. The people always say what game plan is. Just, and Ty can echo this. the hardest job through the week, game plan, organization. Game day is easy. Once we know who you are, you're a cover 4 team, you're a cover 6 team, you're a cover 8 team, you're a man team, you're a 0 team, you're an Okie front team, you're a 4-down front, you're a goal line, you're a barrel front, you're a gap front. Like, once we know who you are, now we know how to attack you, or at least try to attack you. And then it's on the players to win individual matchups, and it's on our job to make sure we stay on task, and I think we do a great job of that. I think the thing you guys want to know is an open mic. Me and Ty on the mic together.
J1 and Ty, this is for both you guys. A question about Omari Evans, talented second-year wideout, very fast. He looked very dangerous in the spring game, obviously. Since you guys have been running the show, he looks dangerous and more involved in the offense since you guys have taken over. Big catch against Michigan State. I think he had another chunk play before that. Was that a priority for you to get maybe him more involved, because we didn't see that much from him maybe earlier in the season? And what do you think about his potential moving forward?
I think the biggest priority overall, not just Omari, is putting our players in the position where they can go and use their strengths. Obviously, with Omari, his strength is he can really run. So giving him the opportunity to showcase that. And so that's something we've done with the offense as a whole, trying to allow our guys to maximize strengths. And you saw that with Omari, running a post. Like, he's good at it. He can run. So that was something, really when all this happened, is like, how can we allow those guys to go do those jobs? How can we put them in that position? And so that's what we did with him, is hey, let him go maximize. He's really good at these things. Or Nick or Fat, or, let's split Nick out and Fat out and get him a touch, and they're good in space. Like the tight ends, they got big bodies, let's take advantage of that. So that was the main priority, not necessarily per player. It was, hey, let's utilize the guys that have superpowers or strengths on our offense and let them go do those things.
I think the big picture, what Ty was saying, think players, not plays. And that's the biggest thing we talked about when we took over. How do our best guys touch the ball? How do our best individual kid take advantage of his strength? And maybe you don't run the whole offense with certain individuals, but you can put them in spots where the ball got a chance to touch their hand and they can take advantage of their skill set. And I think that's what we've done the last 2 weeks. And I thought Mike did try to do a good job of that, but sometimes you sit in that seat for so long, you may push the envelope a little bit too much, and you forget about, okay, end of the day, it still is a player's game. It's not about what we know, it's about what they know and what they can do best. And I think, I don't think that's what we done the last 2 weeks, is say, hey, how can we let our individual players that we know are good players take over the game in ways that they need to take it over? You know what I mean? I think we did a good job of that throughout the year. There are some times we could have did more of that, and I think that's the last 2 weeks kind of showed that.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.